Hello peoples, and welcome back to Paper Mario the Origami King Impossible Mode. The mode where I put insane challenge to this game, and it's hard. If you haven't seen the previous two parts, then I suggest you watch those, as in part 0 I explain the rules, and in part 1 I go over the prologue. Anyways, that's about it, I guess, and in this part I will do the first half of the first chapter, the Red Streamer. And boy, before we begin, let me tell you, the first half was a real struggle, especially the Earth Vellumental, but we'll get to them. I'll first describe how Picnic Road and Overlook Mountain are, and then we'll go into the Vellumental area. Again, thank you for watching and enjoy this video. The first battle of this chapter doesn't come until the Koopa Trooper tries to steal the Shell Stone and we have to get it back. This battle is pretty easy since these enemies don't do too much damage and we can even first strike it because that's cool. Anyways, easy. Next is this Toad. He says he'll give us a gift, and this gift is probably one of the most important things in the entirety of Impossible Mode. Is a 1-up mushroom, which revives you if you're at 0 HP, but obviously do not collect it at this time. To get the second Shell Stone, we have to defeat these Goombas. Oh no, whatever shall I do? It does 2 HP, that's so much. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. It's obviously easy. Next. The next battle is against a couple of Cheep Cheeps, which does make it a bit harder since they're a bit harder to defeat, but it's nothing that hard. They're pretty easy. Fun fact, the Cheep Cheep of the Shell Stone has a special attack where it spits out the stone at you. That's cool. After that battle, I was happily climbing up my mountain. This is pretty easy until, well, I accidentally run into a group of enemies, and these guys are very tough. Enemies do quite pack a punch in groups, and I learned that the hard way. They kept damaged me for a turn, and then I was at 1 HP. There was no way I was gonna survive the next onslaught, so I decided to flee. Fleeing is allowed, I forgot to mention that, but it's completely random whether you actually flee or not. Thank goodness that I actually fled the battle. If I didn't, this would have been my first game over, and that would have been very sad. And what makes this worse is that I had 1 HP all the way up after this brutal jumping section, and if I touched the spikes, that would also be a game over. Good thing there was like a healing heart on the next screen, so that's good. But then, while I was trying to fill up this hole, the Koopa Troopa sniped me and started a battle. Great. After the battle, there was this section with a ton of flames. I got hit a bit, but it wasn't that bad since there were more healing hearts, because I suck. And then after all that, we finally get our first max HP up heart. And we're gonna need it for the boss. Oh boy. That's because the first boss is really hard. But it's just the Earth Elemental, I hear you say. And yes, that's what makes it hard. Because it's a tutorial. I'll try to describe the battle the best way that I can. So for the first 2 turns, Olivia forces you to attack certain parts. And then you take a ton of damage because of the head, so that's great. And then you have to keep a balance between hammering the exposed limbs and unexposed limbs, because if you hit the tail, it goes into its second phase and it does way more damage. And even though it takes 2 turns to do that, it's still better off to attack it before it does go into its second phase. But even though I'm very familiar with this game, I actually die. Yeah, I know, you can stop complaining now. But here's a death compilation, because I died way too many times on this. We interrupt this death compilation to bring you this quiz. If you didn't know, the hammer does 6 damage to the Vellumental's unexposed limbs. Now can you tell me, how much would the hammer do if you had 2 times attack? Is the answer A, 10 damage, B, 11 damage, or C, 12 damage? You only have 5 seconds to make a choice, starting now. If you guess C, that's incorrect, you dingus! That's not how you do math. The correct answer is A, 10 damage, because 6 times 2 is 10. Anyways, back to the death compilation. Finally, after 8 tries, I finally beat the Earth Vellumental. I wasn't expecting it to be that hard since it's literally the tutorial, but I finally made through it. Next time, I'll take on Overlook Tower. See ya then.